Okay. Y'all know exactly who this is. B-Eazy, that dude in the building. Hold on, I got some feedback going on right here. Hold up. I gotta close a Okay, there we go. If you are in the building, go ahead and announce yourself. This one ain't gonna take too long, but I definitely gotta address this situation. My bro, Big Rig Slaps is in the building. What's up with it, dog? He says, let's get it. Now, this is an installment of Sportify, not Spotify. Don't get it confused with the streaming service where you can listen to your music. This is Sportify. And look, I'm disappointed with a lot of y'all. Very highly disappointed, very highly disgusted with a lot of y'all. And I'm going to let y'all know why. Because Jerry Jones. Now, this shouldn't come as a surprise. Nothing that I'm saying should be shocking. But for those that don't know what's going on, I'm going to get right into it because I know that it's the holiday and I'm not going to keep y'all too long on this stream. So, with that being said, let me go ahead and run this. Fair use is a legal doctrine that allows the use of limited portions of copyrighted material under certain circumstances without getting permission from the copyright owner or paying any license fees. So that brings me to my next visual. Hmm, this imagery. Now, some of you instantly know what this image represents. Some of you do not know what it represents. So let me go ahead and break it down for you precisely. The circle, the red circle, that is the owner of the Dallas Cowboys who goes by the name of Jerry Jones. I believe he's in his 80s or something, but the red circle is Jerry Jones. And this picture was taken in 1957 in Arkansas. So let me go through the article posted on Yahoo News and the Independent. And this has been, it's actually went viral, even though this picture has been around for 60 some odd years. Someone had this picture. Now, being objective, this does seem like a hit job because the person that had this picture, I don't think they were just flipping through the pictures and suddenly said, oh, wow, this is Jerry Jones. They already knew what Jerry Jones was about. They knew about this 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, etc. So this does appear to be some sort of hit piece. Looks like Jerry Jones might have got on someone's bad side, or it could be, I know this is just mere speculation. uh, I didn't hear anyone reporting on this. This is just some speculation. I know that the Washington Commanders, I don't know if he sold his team, but he is being pressured aggressively to sell his team. And Washington and the Cowboys have a very, very intense rivalry. So I wouldn't be surprised if he said, hey, if I got to sell my team based on past imagery, past rhetoric that I said, Jerry Jones should have to sell his team or at the very least deal with some public scrutiny. So now let's get right into the article. So this article appeared on many outlets, but the one that I'm focusing on is the one by the Independent, posted on Yahoo News by Baven Hurley. Let's get into it. So the image that you're looking at now, a newly unearthed photo. And I'm going to be reading the article, but I'm going to be pausing and giving my commentary as well. So it says a newly unearthed photo. So it's really an old photo that just got newly unearthed. And someone that critically thinks would say, why is this photo just newly unearthed? Why why wasn't this brought to light decades ago? But let's go with it. A newly unearthed photo shows a 14-year-old Jerry Jones among a group of white teenagers blocking six African American students from entering a school in Little Rock, Arkansas in 1957. Mr. Jones, the billionaire owner of the Dallas Cowboys, acknowledged in an interview with the Washington Post he was in the photo. So anyone that thinks it's speculation, is that even really him? He's already admitted and said, yeah, that was me. So this was taken during protests over efforts to integrate black students into local high schools during the civil rights movement. So Jerry Jones, along with many other of his white colleagues, students, neighbors, were vehemently against integration. They didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to eat with the blacks. They didn't want to go see movies with blacks. They didn't want to play sports with blacks. They didn't want anything to do with blacks. Now, some people are saying this was 67 years ago. Get over it. Jerry Jones has changed. Has he though? But we'll revisit that notion. So, Mr. Jones told the Post that his football coach had warned players to avoid the arrival of six African American students for the first day at North Little Rock High School. So his coach said, hey, look, there are going to be some Negroes coming here. You guys need to avoid them. I want you guys focus on football. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but the rest of this stuff, Jerry Jones said that his coach told him, hey, do not go over there, avoid them. And what do you think Jerry Jones did? He disobeyed it, but he said it was out of a sense of curiosity rather than racist intent, adding he looked like a little burrhead standing towards the back of the gathered crowd. So basically, he's trying to downplay it and said, look, I didn't go there to be racist, even though we were blocking these kids to come to our school, even though we didn't want these black kids to come to our school. I didn't go down there to the protest to be racist. I just went there to be curious because curiosity killed the cat. And I was just a 14-year-old innocent boy just wondering what these other older, angry, more aggressive students were going to do to the blacks. Now, I wasn't going to do anything. I was just a harmless, innocent spectator. That's what Jerry Jones wants you to believe. But does anyone actually believe that? Now, I know many people will, but those people suffer from cognitive dissonance. Those people have deluded thoughts. And I'm not saying everyone needs to share my beliefs on this situation, but Stevie Wonder could see what's going on. But he says, I don't know that I or anybody anticipated or had a background of knowing what was involved. And shout out to Jason Black, the Black Authority. I know he is doing a broadcast right now and he's touching on this topic and some other topics. But let's be honest, Jerry Jones classmates know what he was about because they were engaging in the same anti-blackness. The black people that had encounters with Jerry Jones know what he was about and what he is currently about. So he is over here trying to paint the picture that he was just some innocent guy that was just curious. And let's just give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's say I do give him the benefit of the doubt, which I don't, but let's just play a hypothetical game and say that I do give him the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so what did he do in terms of unifying with other racial groups, specifically black people? What did he do to unify? He got a team that he's called the air quote owner of, and he hires and employs blacks, but not to any positions of power or prominence. He has them being subservient to him. And look, I understand that if he is the head honcho, the CEO, everyone is going to be under him. But you couldn't hire a black person to be under you in a position of power and authority. Come on now. But no, people want to say, no, this is just a coincidence. He is not anti-black. How could he be anti-black? Most of his players are black. Yeah. Most of his subservient players who answer to the air quote owner. Yeah, he doesn't have an issue with those power dynamics. But why hasn't he ever hired a black head coach or even a black top executive? But we're gonna get into that. So, Richard Lindsay, one of the black students who was trying to gain entry to the school, later recounted how a white student put his hands on the back of his shoulder and said, I want to see how a nigger feels. So, you got to think about that. And there's those tropes where, non black people, mainly whites, are constantly, oh my God, I love your hair. Let me touch your hair. Why? That has those remnants too. I want to see how a nigger feels. And are Negroes more subject to savagery and criminality? Do they have a higher threshold for pain, or are they just violent because that's just the culture? Oh, maybe they don't have the same aptitude as whites, even though it was illegal for them to read books, and even though if a person was caught teaching a Negro how to read, he would be lynched. But then they're saying, look, you guys are just like that. You guys are just inferior intellectually. And I say, hey, how about you let the white person read a book and let the black person read a book, and hey, let the better man win? But instead, what they said was, here's the books for the whites. Y'all can read as many books as you want, but blacks, you better not read a book or we will delete you. We will terminate and annihilate you if you read a book. Isn't that highly delusional? Isn't that highly regressive and unproductive? You say that you want this particular group of people to rise from the depths of depravity and disenfranchisement. All right, cool. In order to do that, they will need to read books in order to know how to establish a particular infrastructure, in order to instill certain values. How are you going to do that without reading? So, a lot of these questions are rhetorical. Some of them are, asked facetiously. But let's continue. The students who became known as the Little Rock Six ultimately decided against enrolling in the school. So the black kids, and this is one thing about black people, we really are the moral compass of the nature of the country, and it's just in our nature. We are willing to, maybe to our chagrin, we're willing to go to school with anyone. Oh, it's white people at the school? We'll go there. Hispanics will go there. Asians will go there. But all of these other groups collectively, not on an individual level, I'm just saying on a collective level, they refuse and sometimes refrain from going to school with air quote the blacks. You see, they don't have an issue assimilating and getting closer to whiteness because there's benefits. But hey, we need the blacks to be the downtrodden of the social hierarchy. Hey, blacks need help, but let's keep them at the bottom because it makes us look very superior. So while there is some validity to some people having an inferiority complex, and that's worth unpacking, what about the other side of it? When other groups are having a superiority complex. But no, no, y'all don't want to talk about that, right? But let's commence. Events at North Little Rock High School occurred a few weeks before a separate event that became a flashpoint for the civil rights movement. On September 9th, 1957, 9 African American students trying to enter Little Rock Central High School were pushed and shoved by white students as they attempted to enter the school. The racist protest became so inflamed that then President Dwight Eisenhower sent in federal troops to try to enforce desegregation. So these people were so adamant, so vehemently opposed from just going to school with African Americans, right? They are, according to them, superior, right? Much more smarter, more beautiful, more wealthy, and more well off. What would have been the issue, right? You got to really think and try to unpack that pathology. You hate a group of people so bad that you don't even want to be in the same room as them. You see them as subhuman. And some people said, hey, just get over it. How could I get over it when the people that perpetuated this ideology, these atrocities, are still alive? See, that's what they say. Oh, racism is dead. It's not like how it used to be. Doesn't matter if it's how it used to be. All it did was evolve. It became more covert than overt, but it's still there. It's just like if someone gives you a double decker shit sandwich, you can just see it oozing out, right? Or versus someone gives you some spaghetti with some shit stirred in there. You know what I mean? Might be a little bit harder to see because, like, is that sausage? Is that sauce? Oh, no, no, this is a piece of shit. It's a little bit harder to see, but ultimately you realize it's the same thing. You know, whether it's a shit sandwich or shit spaghetti, the key and operative word is shit. So when we dealing with anti-blackness and people are saying, oh, the anti-blackness has diminished. So if it was on a level of 100 in 1957 and now it's on the level of 89, you like, well, it used to be on 100. No, that's not how it works. There's no such thing as a acceptable amount of racism, like diet racism. Well, you're not even getting the full racism. We're only giving you diet racism, so I should be okay with that? No. Imagine someone saying diet sexual assault, right? This person only got sexually assaulted 20 times. They used to get sexually assaulted 100 times. No one would stand for that, right? So why should we stand for it? Used to be more racist back in the 60s. What you complaining for now? Like, you sound goofy. But let's commence. The Post article goes on to point that Mr. Jones, as one of the most powerful executives in the NFL, has done little. They're saying little. I would say he's done nothing. But let's go with the he's done little to advance the issues of racial equity in the league. So we're by this point, I'm hypothetically giving him the benefit of doubt, right? So this was 67 years ago. Why hasn't he done anything recent in recent memory? Oh, actually, he has done something in recent memory. Let's discuss that. He objected to the protest during the 2017 season when many players took a knee during the playing of the national anthem, a movement spurred by Colin Kaepernick to push back against the killing of African Americans by police. And all of these people who said, you disrespected the flag, these same people are saying, oh, forgive Jerry Jones, he has changed. But these same people don't want to forgive Kaepernick. All Kaepernick did was take a knee, which was advised to him by someone who actually served, someone that fought for this country, said, hey, you know what? Everything that people typically do when they take a knee is done out of respect. When you bow down on your knees to pray, that's respect. You get on your knee to propose to your wife, that's out of respect. So when he took a knee for the national anthem, it wasn't a sign of disrespect. It actually was a sign of respect to all of the lives lost and for the future betterment of this country. It wasn't to say, hey, this country is so horrible and it can't be fixed. It was to say, look, this is the path forward. We can come together. We can basically evaluate these atrocities and say, no, this is not right. Whether the person is white, black, orange, yellow, or blue, it's not right. But we can't pick and choose and say, oh, yes, this happened, but you guys are not even getting lynched anymore. You're just only getting shot at an alarming rate by police. No, this is not acceptable. But Jerry Jones has also been dismissive of the NFL's Rooney Rule, which requires teams to consider at least one minority candidate when hiring a head coach. Now, some people think that this is woke and this is racist, but why would they even have to implement the Rooney Rule if minorities, specifically black people, were getting a fair shake? Look up the word nepotism. The intellectual people know what it means. And if you are devoid of intellect, just type it in. So people like to talk about meritocracy and pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, but they rarely have deep dives into nepotism because they know that it's a good old boys club and people are going to hire their friends, their cousins, their family members above an outside random person and definitely above a black person. So, Mr. Jerry Jones, the person who said he was just curious when he went to help or should I say spectate while these people were denying entry and access to the young black boys, he has done nothing to advance. He won't say that he apologized for being there. He doesn't say that he's remorseful. And some people are saying, well, maybe he's changed. Well, okay, maybe he did change, but when did he express that change? How do we know that he changed? Are we supposed to just take his word for it? He never said that he changed. So why are you guys assuming, some people assuming that he has changed? Now, Mr. Jones has never hired a black head coach or top executive during his 33-year ownership of the Dallas Cowboys. There's been countless top black executives, countless top black coaches and players who should be given the opportunity to coach and be in those executive positions. But not when you're dealing with an anti-black cowboy. But let's see, let's see who we got in the building now. So we got Celine in the building. Hey, what's up, Celine? Good to see you. Hopefully you are having a good holiday. And we got the lovely sister Inya in the building. Shout out, Sister Inya. But yeah, I had to touch on that. This is a installment of Sportify. But peep this though, because this happened in 1957 in Arkansas, but this is something that you guys probably don't know. Look up the Wrightsville fire of 1959. Wrightsville fire of 1959. This was in the same state. On March 5th, 1959, 21 African American boys burned to death inside a dormitory at an Arkansas reform school in Wrightsville, Pulaski County. I had to give a moment of silence for that because that was very disgusting and that was very insidious. And I know people want to say, hey, this happened a long time ago. What are you complaining about? Did you know about this? I recently learned about this. I know people from Arkansas that don't even know about this. This is complete and utter insanity. So let me repeat one more time. On March 5th, 1959, 21 African American boys burned to death inside a dormitory at an Arkansas reform school in Wrightsville, Pulaski County. The doors were locked from the outside. Sabotage. The fire mysteriously ignited around 4 a.m. on a cold, wet morning. So it was cold, it was wet, it was windy. I think they were reporting storms that day. Yeah, actually, it said following earlier thunderstorms in the same area of Pulaski County. So you mean to tell me there were thunderstorms, wet, cold, windy, and somehow some random fire just targeted this specific area, and it was just coincidentally and conveniently all black boys in there, right? Do you believe in coincidences? So, the institution was 1 mile down a dirt road from the mostly black town of Wrightsville, then an unincorporated hamlet 13 miles south of Little Rock. There's that town again, which happens to be in Pulaski County. So, same county that Jerry Jones is in, but he's just going down to be curious about desegregation, right? So, 48 children, ages 13 to 17, managed to claw their way to safety by knocking out two of the window screens. Amidst the choking, blinding smoke and heat, four or five boys at the time tried to fight their way forward through the narrow openings as the fire began to devour them. So, these young boys are literally being devoured by flames, being burnt alive, yelling, screaming in a box, burnt to a crisp. Survivors never forgot the horror of that fire. The wife of one of the survivors later said in an interview before her husband's death from cancer that he had continued to dream about the fire. See, people want to say, oh, just get over it. But imagine this was your kid. Would you be telling your kid to get over it? You're 20 years old now. Get over it. You're 30 years old now. Get over it. You wouldn't say that to your kids. So why would you be saying it to other people's kids? These kids didn't have the complexion for the protection. This event brought attention to this largely forgotten institution. Hmm. Largely forgotten institution or conveniently forgotten institution that was operating during the Jim Crow era in Arkansas. Founded in 1923, the Arkansas Negro Boys Industrial School was the most of its existence a juvenile work farm located first outside of Pine Bluff, Jefferson County, and then in the mid 1930s outside of Wrightville. So you didn't want black people going to school with you. And then when we had our own schools where we were going with all black people, what do? You burn it down. But somehow people want to believe that black people are the face of criminality and debauchery and depravity. Quite disgusting, quite hypocritical. And Sister Enya says, I had never heard of it. Yeah, so just look it up. It is called the 1959 Wrightsville Fire. And you will see just how atrocious this country has been with the race relations when it pertains to Black Americans specifically. But this was an installment of Sportify. I'm not going to stay here too long. I just want to touch bases on this because this story is not getting a lot of coverage. Many people are remaining silent on it, all because of America's pastime. But you love sports that much that you can't even speak out, that you don't want to speak out. You're a slave to the sport that you don't even get paid for. This is goofy. And actually, I seen someone that I'm cool with. So shout out to this person. But I seen someone that I was cool with share an image of this. Actually, they shared this particular image and they were trying to say, hey, Cowboys, look at what type of owner you have. But I told them, hey, you're sharing this image, trying to demonize someone and saying, hey, look at the Cowboys owner. He's racist and he's has a plantation mindset. But how many of these people that know that Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner, was involved in this anti-black protest? How many people know that but still watch the Cowboys game today? I told my boy who was actually a Cowboys fan, he didn't even want to believe this story because he said it came from the Washington Post. And he said the Washington is a staunch rival of the Cowboys. So I need a little bit more information before I could believe it. This is how delusional people always have been, but now it might even be more rampant. The same people, even if you're not a Cowboys fan, right? People are like, oh, the Cowboys played this team today. You didn't have to watch. You could have boycotted. You could have protested just like they are protesting these black boys. But no, you are so addicted, so enamored by entertainment that you just couldn't even turn off the screen. There was nothing else you could watch. There was no book that you can pick up and read. And that to me was highly disturbing. Dare I say slightly disgusting, because that just let me know people could say and do anything and you don't care. People can call you a nigger. People can protest against your interests. And hey, as long as I get to see football on Sunday, you okay with that? This is wild. And Mrs. Enya says, even if he was curious, did he have to be inquisitive right in the crowd? Well, this is another thing that they said. They were trying to say, well, he was 14 and the other boys were older. I don't even know why you guys interjected that point when there just was a lawmaker that called the cops on a 9-year-old girl and said that she was a woman. Tamir Rice was a 12-year-old boy, but they saw him as a black man. Many times there are young black boys that get tried as an adult. You think a 14-year-old black boy hasn't ever been tried as an adult? So when we're giving Jerry Jones the benefit of the doubt, we can't just act like he was just some innocent 14-year-old boy who didn't know what was going on. He knows exactly the climate of society at that time. He was in Arkansas, a place that was a hotbed for racism and anti-blackness, a hotbed for Jim Crow policies, a hotbed for lynching. He already knows this. So Jones is being totally deceptive and disingenuous. But I expect this from Jerry Jones. This is really not even about Jerry Jones. This is more about the people that are just so addicted, so fixated on sports that even when you are presented with some distasteful information, you just cannot stop tuning in. You cannot stop tuning in. You're going to go buy the tickets. You're going to go buy a Cowboys jersey. You celebrating that the Cowboys won today. And people, and when it comes to their team, right? It's actually Jerry Jones' team. But when people watch the Cowboys, they'll say, we won today, right? They'll say, we won, as if you're a part of the Cowboys team, as if you didn't have any food on your table, that Jerry Jones would come to your rescue. So it's weird, you know. And Razik says, I'll be at the Cowboys Stadium Christmas Day watching them Eagles demolish them Cowgirls. And yeah, I've already talked to my boys. I told them the Cowboys is the third best team in the division. Eagles number one. I had the Giants number two and the Cowboys number three. I don't know the score, but let me just pull it up right now. Last time I checked, the Cowboys was up, so I think they did. Uh, Pull out the victory today. Yeah, they won 20-28 today. The Giants are 7-4. The Giants are 7-4. The Cowboys are 8-3, and the Eagles are 9-1. So the Eagles lost their first game. Who did they lose to? Now I gotta check. So I'm gonna get y'all the score updates too. I mean, while we doing it, this is Sportify. Uh yeah, I didn't know the Eagles lost. Who the heck did they lose to? Um, I don't know, man. I don't know who gave the Eagles their first loss. I'm looking for that. But either way, the Bills played today. They beat the Lions. That was 28-25. But either way, the Eagles are 9-1. But Razik, hopefully you enjoy the game. I'm not giving Jerry Jones or the Cowboys none of my money. FUCK Jerry Jones. Hopefully the Eagles stomp them, you know what I mean? But my whole point is that Jerry Jones is not the only person that has these anti-black views. So this is not even about Jerry Jones. Everything I expect this from Jerry Jones. But what I don't expect is for people to be so fixated with sports that you just have to tolerate any and everything. We going to the Super Bowl this year. I don't know about that, cuz you feel me? But the Eagles, they do look legit. The Eagles do have a legitimate team. I like Jalen Hurts. Devontae Smith has been balling this year, but Super Bowl, that might be a bit of a stretch, but who knows? I'm not counting them out. I'm just saying there are some tough teams out there. And let's just see the standings and see how they crack up against some of these other teams. The Niners, I think the Eagles are better than the Niners and the Seahawks. The Vikings, are they really better than the Vikings? The Vikings look sus. They are 8-2, but sometimes they look suspect. But I would say the Eagles are better than the Vikings, though. The Buccaneers are definitely better than that. So, I mean, I'm not refuting totally what you said. I'm just saying I don't think it's entirely in the bag. I actually think, as much as I don't like the Cowboys, I think they do have a shot to get to the Super Bowl. I think it's unlikely, but they do have a shot. So if I had to put my money, if I had to put my money right now, I'd say the Eagles number one, probably the Vikings, and then as much as I don't like them, I do have to give the Niners because they have turned it around. Their last four games, they're 3-1. They just picked up Christian McCaffrey. So yeah, you might be on the money. I think the Eagles have a great shot at winning the Super Bowl. And shout out to M3. He coming through. Says salute to the chat and B-Eazy, that dude. Salute to you, man. This is just a little short rendition of Sportify that I had to touch on. I literally had to touch on this. And, I'm going to be shutting it down soon. But I just want to say to the people, man, do you have any type of morals, beliefs? Do you stand for anything? Can people just say anything, do anything, treat your people any type of way, and there's no repercussions? I'm not saying everyone should be outraged and boycott the NFL because a lot of you cats, all you care about is your fantasy football teams and, hey, I bet on this game and football is life. But football is life for who? A lot of you cats ain't getting paid off of this. You over here stressed out if the Cowboys lose. If the Cowboys win, you praising them as if you're getting a trophy. But then you hear a story about Jerry Jones being anti-black, and all you can do is cape for the anti-black bigot. Man, a lot of you cats is just, if this was still slavery time, a lot of you cats would be house niggas. A lot of y'all. And it's not cool, but I guess it just is what it is. So, with that being said, thank you for everyone that slid through in the building live chat. I'm gonna go ahead and just give y'all some more shout outs. Big Rig came through, Celine came through, Sister Enya came through, Razik came through, M3 came through. So, anyone that is watching this on the playback, shout out to you as well. And this has been a installment of Sportify. You're gonna see a lot more of these coming through. Some of these I'm gonna rock solo, some of these I'm going to have a panel, but this one was just a something that I had to address that I don't see many people touching on or addressing. It is the holiday 11/24/22, the holiday known as Thanksgiving or Indigenous Day, but the politically correct term is happy holiday. But hopefully everyone does have a blessed and spirited day. This is B-Eazy, that dude, signing off. Sportify.